Cause?
Yeah, did you get the text or email from Abraham? He may be a bit late.
No, I did not see that. Do you want to be in charge at the beginning?
Yeah, he just sent it to me, text.
Oh, okay.
I'm running a bit late, start if I'm not on time.
That works.
I guess I better take the camera off. Rather than be incognito.
So for everyone here so far, you are muted, and to participate, and you'll stay muted until you're ready to participate. To participate, you'll have to go down to the participants button at the bottom of your screen and click that. Find something called the raise hand button, and then wait for me to unmute you. Another pop-up, an additional pop-up will come confirming for you to unmute. Judy.
Kaz, question for you. Kaz?
Yes.
The first item under the layovers on 3rd Avenue, that's been laid over for a number of months now. How long does it get to be laid over, or are we being very generous because of these times?
I'm not sure, Judy. That would be an Abraham or a Will question. This is the Hernandez on behalf of entity TBD.
3rd Avenue and 61st Street?
Yeah, 60 and 62, yeah, 1022. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. That would be a Will or Matt or, oh, is Abraham on?
I don't see him yet. Let me look through the list.
Oh, sorry, I see the Abraham on the, yeah, that's an Abraham question, Judy, sorry.
Okay, well, Max, maybe you can ask Abraham about that.
Sure. I can chime in. I am actually here, but the reason why that's been laid over is at the request of the applicant. So the worst thing that I think we would need to do is get another 30-day notice from them. That would be a more current 30-day notice. Normally, we'll delay until they're ready to, present and become ready.
Okay. I was just wondering because it just kept getting laid over what was going on.
Yeah, they had I think been hoping at the beginning of everything that it wouldn't last that long, but
okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi there. How are you doing?
Yeah, Matt, who is Scott's iPhone?
I was trying to find that as well.
Just unmute them, see what they. Well, hold it. Well, since it's 6:32, everybody welcome to the December Street Life meeting. My name is Cos Spagnoletti. I'm the interim co-host, co-chair, or whatever you would like to call. So before we go further, the stipulations are on the agenda. Everybody would agree to those. And with that, we will start the meeting. The first one is the Nerve Gallery. Is the applicant here?
If the applicant is, oh, I see that.
If the applicant is online, can you just raise your hand? Or
I've just asked Scott's iPhone to unmute. You'll just have to confirm.
Good.
Hi. Are
Hello.
Are you from the Nerve Gallery?
I'm from the Neue Gallery, yes.
Okay, Neue Gallery, my apologies.
No problem.
Okay, this is a new application. Can you tell us a bit about it and what's going on?
Yes, so the Neue Gallery is a museum of German and Austrian art. It's located on the corner of 86th Street and 5th Avenue. It opened to the public November 16th, 2001. I'm the deputy director of the museum. I've been there since the beginning. And part of our museum is a cafe, Cafe Sabarsky, very popular cafe serving German and Austrian food. We sell beer and wine, but when we reopen, we would like to apply for a liquor license.
Okay, and what are your hours?
Our hours are from 11 to 6, Thursday through Sunday.
Okay, so you're not open all night.
This is, excuse me, can I be heard? Am I heard?
Yes, and this is our lawyer, Alan Gardner.
This is Alan Gardner. I submitted the application. We do have in the application that the restaurant hours are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., which my understanding is that coincides with the museum's hours.
He's right. Mr. Gardner is right. I misstated the hours. I apologize.
No, well, what I'm trying to find out is you don't want to be open 1, 2, 3 in the morning, so 10 o'clock
No.
at night. Okay.
10 p.m. Yes.
Now you have two, don't you? You have the cafe on one floor and you have a restaurant on the other?
It's a cafe on both floors. Cafe Sabarsky and Cafe Fledermaus.
So is this for both or for one or?
It's for both. They have the same menu.
Okay. Any questions from the public? Any from my co-members? Marco. Can you unmute Marco?
Yes, I just.
Okay.
Just did. I have a question. Are you willing to comply with all COVID regulations?
Could you repeat that question, please?
Are you willing to comply with all?
I only heard, are you willing to comply?
No,
I think
I think what Marco is trying to ask is, well, I think everybody has to comply with the regulation, the COVID regulations, 25%,
yes,
6 foot distance. I think that's a compulsory thing that everybody will be abiding by.
But we certainly plan to abide by that as well.
Okay.
Because it should be as part of the resolution that in all the applications we put it all this, even though they should, but it's good that we can put it in all the applications, this statement or this, I don't know what to say, but we have to be in agreement with the these new regulations of COVID for protection of the public. And I don't have a problem with this application. Thank you.
Well, those regulations are largely coming from the governor, and the state liquor authority is very strictly enforcing that, and we of course intend to comply, as I'm sure most other licensees do also.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I tend to not want to put this in the resolution because everybody knows what's going on, and there's been liquor licenses that have been suspended. But that's up to everybody. Okay, Russell.
I asked you to.
Yeah, thanks. I got it. I just wanted to confirm that the listed occupancy is also for both floors, for Sabarsky and also Fledermaus.
Yes, in your questionnaire, I totaled the capacity of the two restaurants and just inserted a total.
Okay, so basically everything that's in the questionnaire is the total for both.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Barry.
Call the question. Move to approve.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, the way we're going to do this, if any of the members want to disapprove or not go along with it, raise your hand. Otherwise, it will be unanimous. Marco.
I would like to know if it's going to be put in the part of the resolution what I requested. Otherwise, we cannot give nothing for granted in that part. Probably they must obey the law, but it's good from our part, for our end, also that they have a commitment with us. And after that, they have a problem with the license or problems of some penalization for that. So then he's not going to come back and say, well, we didn't know that, or helping us. And the best way is to compromise them at any level that they have to obey the law. That's it. So if you are willing to put that, I will support this application. If not, I will go.
Okay, I think they've agreed to it, so okay, I will put it in.
Thank you.
Okay, how many do you have a list of the members, Matt?
So I believe we just go down the Zoom list. I see Mrs. Brown raised her hand, actually. Mrs. Brown, you're unmuted.
Thank you. Cos, could you please state what the resolution is going to be, please?
Well, what we're going to basically say is that we approve their application with the proviso that they obey the COVID rules while they are in force. Okay. I mean, once they go out of force, it's meaningless.
I understand. I just didn't hear that part. Thank you.
Yeah, Marco wants that in the resolution, so I'm fine with that. Okay. Anybody else abstaining or voting no? Okay, this will go down as a unanimous approval with the stipulation that they will obey the COVID rules while they are in effect. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have to read the members in attendance too?
Yeah, I think basically for the record, that way you'll know, and we'll put it in the minutes. Thanks.
Sure. Okay, so I'll just go right down the list. Barry Schneider, Marco Tomeo, Mrs. Brown, Russell Squire, Olita Camp, Cos Bagnaletti, and that's it.
Paul Higgins is there.
Paul Higgins is here, yes.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to 1B. Aksara Corp, DBA Marwin Thai Restaurant. Is the applicant here?
We're looking for a Serrata Preche.
Okay, raise your hand so we know where you are so we can unmute you. No takers?
They're
Okay.
there, they just need to unmute.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, this is for, can you tell us a bit about the place? It's for a new application, wine and beer only. Good.
Yeah, it's on 1132 First Avenue. So we're going to open a Thai restaurant. It's gonna be more like a takeout kind of place on the ground floor, and we are applying for beer and wine liquor license.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody have any questions, or what's the cross street?
Between 62nd and 63rd.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I see
Barry
Mrs.
and
Brown has a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mrs. Brown.
Are you going to use your own delivery service, or are you going to give it to a third party? And if so, what's the name of the delivery service going to be, please?
I think we gonna have our own guy do a delivery service, and we may use the third party as well. The name of the third party is Relay.
Are you saying the name of the company is Relay?
Yeah,
Relay.
it's called Relay, and they are Caviar and Uber Eat.
Is there a affidavit on file regarding following the rules with e-bikes?
Sorry, I cannot hear that.
Did you submit the affidavit that you would? But are e-bikes legal now or not?
No.
Matt, Will, do you know?
I'm not certain. It looks like Judy Schneider might know, so I'm going to unmute her.
Okay.
Yes, the city bikes now, I had a long talk. We have a station outside the park, and there's a man that services them there. And most of the city bikes now have been turning to e-bikes, and they have very few manual bikes now. So they must be legal if the city is allowing city bikes to use them.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Pedal assist and bikes that go up to 20, I think, miles an hour, maybe 25.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if we should put that in the resolution, since now that they are legal. So I'm not sure about this.
I see we have our board chair, Alita.
Thank you. Even if we don't, thank you, Max. Even if we don't say that they're no longer legal or illegal, we should also make sure that the restaurants comply with the rules pertaining to e-bikes, because we all know the delivery guys are on the sidewalks and going the wrong way. So the restaurant should comply with the traffic laws and any other laws relevant to bikes.
Yeah.
Did they submit the one of the stipulations on the agenda is that with the e-bikes, isn't it?
Yes, we did.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I believe Judy has another question, actually.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have several questions. This is the location of our famous horrible hookah bar for many years that we had a lot of problems with. I'm sure you'll remember, Kaz.
Yes. I never went there.
But you remember hearing about it. The second floor, are they taking that over? What's happening with
No. So our store is 1132 First Avenue. It's actually the store next to the grocery store that used to be Casablanca Grill. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No problem.
We're in the other one.
No, not that one. Yes.
Okay. And I have another question. You said you might have your own bicyclist. That's a very tiny store. Living in the neighborhood, I know it well. What will you do with the bicycles? Will you park them inside your store?
I think there is a like a small space next to the tree, but and there is a pole. I think we might park it there.
But you can't park any bikes near trees. That's not allowed.
Okay.
Okay, the reason I ask is because you have the market right next to you, and they have that outdoor space. So it doesn't leave very much space on the sidewalk. It's kind of narrow there. So please consider that. Maybe you can find a place inside to put your bikes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think we're gonna do it by the tree. I'm confused. Maybe we find a space in front of the store or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure it like comply with the laws.
Are you trying to put anything out on the sidewalk or in the street?
No.
Okay. Thank
No.
you. Good luck to you.
You're welcome.
you.
Thank you.
How many bikes will you be using?
How many what?
Bikes.
Two.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody? Approve, disapprove? Marco.
Marco. Go ahead, Marco.
Yeah, I will approve with the stipulation that I already said. Thank you.
That's with the COVID and the electrical. Okay, anyway, Mrs. Brown?
Go ahead, Mrs. Brown.
Second. I second the motion. To
Oh,
approve.
I
Thank
think
you.
we have to call a question.
Any,
Oh,
well, Marco called the question. Barry?
Call the roll.
Okay, and this is to approve with the COVID rules and the electric bike that they have the affidavit anyway. Anybody voting no or abstaining, otherwise it will go down as a unanimous. Not seeing any hands, this will go down as a unanimous.
Should I call the roll?
Very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good luck. Who are we up to now? Be back
I
soon.
think, sorry, guys, I think I have to formally call the roll here.
Oh, okay.
So Barry
Well,
Schneider.
it's on record. There's no need to. It's a unanimous. It's a unanimous. If anybody abstains or voting no, then they will, and it's the same people. So
Okay. My mistake.
speed up. Okay. Be back soon.
Let's see.
77
Harry,
and 78.
Nathan, you're now unmuted.
Hi.
Okay.
Eric Callion here. I'm the attorney for Be Back Soon LLC. This is, I believe my clients are on here as well. Massimo Lusardi.
Hello. Hello. Massimo and my father Mauro here.
Massimo and Mauro Lusardi. And do we have anybody else? Is there anybody else speaking on that? Okay, great. Yep, we're here.
Okay, and what the food is 50-50. Well, wait a minute. You're going from 2nd Avenue to 1st Avenue. You're expanding on 1st Avenue now.
No, we're not.
So this application is for 1488 2nd Avenue. So
oh, you're still on 2nd. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
That's okay.
For 38 years.
Yeah, Massimo and Mauro have been operating UVA at 1486 and 1484 for about 35 years. They've been in the neighborhood for a long time. I'm sure everybody here knows them. And they're, this has obviously been a very difficult time. And, first of all, we want to thank the community board and the members for, for doing what you do. It's been a very difficult time. And they're Massimo and Mauro are looking to expand, and continue doing business. They really want to revitalize the neighborhood, and they want us to do this operation here. So all of the materials are in the document package. So if there's any questions, the one thing that wasn't in there is the menu. The menu is it's a globally inspired European menu focused on Italian light bites, similar to the offerings they have at UVA. So we'll open it up for any questions.
Okay, and what are your hours?
11 a.m. to 4 a.m. The same as the other licenses that we have on the block.
Okay. I think you're going to get
just a correction, Harry. UVA has been there for 16 years. It's my father's restaurant, Lusardi's, which has been there for 38.
Right.
That may or may not make a difference, but just.
Well, this is what, the 2nd or 3rd generation in about 20 years or something. And you've got the backyards at UVA, isn't it?
That's right. Correct, at Uva, yes. Not at this location, but we do at Uva.
Okay, well, we're not talking about Uber, so any okay, Judy. Hold it. Let's go to the public first. Jay Levine, you're unmuted.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Denise Levine. I don't object to UVA expanding. I live right near them. The only thing that would concern me are late hours and music. Because the people who were at 1480 Second Avenue played loud music till very late hours. And I know that you now have something on the agenda for that address, 303 East 77th Street. The next item is 1480 Second Avenue. So I would object to this new location only because of my concern about late hours and music. Because right now there are many establishments that have liquor licenses on the block within 500 feet. 6, 1490, 1492, 1494, and 1496. And that's just on the east side of Second Avenue between 77th and 78th Street. And on the local blog next door, I noticed that a lot of people have been concerned, as I have, about all the people who have been congregating on the street with outdoor dining. So I'm really concerned with late hours that my bedroom faces Second Avenue. I won't be able to sleep.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can jump in and I'm sorry. What was the name? I didn't catch the name of the resident.
I'm at 303 East 77th Street. I'm Denise Levine.
Hi. Yeah. Massimo here. Well, the first thing that you had mentioned was a prior tenant in an address that is not this one. I can tell you that, you know, atmospherically, it's going to be very similar to what we have been doing for many years, for what we were doing before. The place that you mentioned has been empty for a couple of years. And, you know, I'm a very, you know, I enjoy peace and quiet as well. So I could appreciate your concerns. I just, I think that to answer your questions one at a time, the address on the corner is not what we're applying for. We're applying for somewhere else. And we actually have a business even closer to your apartment than the one that we're applying for. And I was happy enough, you know, that you did not mention anything about the sound there. So that kind of speaks to the first point that you made, because I empathize with you, because you know, I know what it's like to have noisy neighbors personally, more from the residentials, and you know, I'm a very light sleeper. But as far as the second point that you made about congregating, this is actually going to alleviate that problem, as you know, this would allow more seats to be available. And 2020 has been a heck of a year. And the main reason why we have, not to say that it's an issue, but the main reason why I believe you're saying that is because we've had no indoor dining. So all of these bodies that are normally sitting down at a table or waiting at the bar or waiting from the tables across from the bar totally got wiped out for obvious reasons that I'm sure everyone is aware of. So I think this is quite the unique year to sort of, you know, and again, I empathize with you. So I don't want to make you feel like I'm dismissing that concern. I'm just trying to explain why I think that concern will be alleviated, not only with, God willing, the COVID disappearing, but furthermore, us having more seats so that instead of people waiting outside, they are now, you know, dining inside.
Well, you know, Massimo, I mean, honestly, we've had serenaders outside our window, you know, the passing musicians all summer long. And I tried not to object, even when they came at 11 o'clock at night on weekends, because I really don't want you to lose business.
No, I appreciate that. And one thing that we're super appreciative of is just, we live in a neighborhood, and it seems like any neighborhoods that did exist have slowly been disappearing this year at a rapid rate. And regarding the singers, I'm actually happy you brought that up, because I want to tell you what our experience with any buskers, or whatever word you want to call them, has been. It happens not only in the Upper East Side, but it happens in downtown as well, just from going out and dining. Musicians have been out of work, so they have been going around trying to make a dollar. It was very sweet when it happened the first time. It was nice when it happened the second time, maybe even the third time. Admittedly, to hear the same people going around playing the same 4 songs 3 or 4 times a week, personally got very frustrating, but that doesn't matter. But once we would ask them not to come, and the responses we would get was, if we're not standing, on your property or in front of yours, there's nothing you can do except call the police, in which case I'm within my legal right according to this document. And so, being in this business for a while, when someone, not that I don't want to call them aggressive, but when someone is sort of not that passive as they could be, I don't try to fight fire with fire. So I let it go the first time. The second time I asked them nicer, same response. The third time we called 311, because we didn't want to waste the emergency on 911, especially with the crime that has been going on. And finally, we ended up calling 911, and the police did not come a few times, because they asked, "What is your emergency?" And we told them, a man singing a few songs on the sidewalk, and no one came. After about the 3rd or 4th time that we called 911, the police did come, and they said, they spoke to the guy, and they looked at us, and they said, "If they're here past 10 p.m., give us a call back, but they can do what they want at 10 p.m. and they're not on your property." And, this is something that is not necessarily specific to my business. It's something that I see happening throughout New York in 2020. And I apologize for the long answer, but I didn't want to leave out any details.
If I may, hi, my name is Mauro Lusardi, Massimo's dad. So I've been in this block right here for the past, I guess, 49 years, since 1971. I've opened Lusardi's 1981, so it's 40 years just about. And those of you who know us, who know me or Lusardi, who know what we're about for the past 40 years, know that we're not about making noise. We're not about loud crowd. We're not about loud people, drunken people. I like to think that we run a very civilized and serious operation, and definitely not about loud music. Unfortunately, like my son explained, we couldn't do much about the outdoor music. But certainly indoor, as far as the dining room, that's not what we're all about. I just wanted to reassure the lady that we have no intention of anything like that. If you know Lusardi, and if you know Uva, I think you do, but then you would know that it's not in our intention, and it's just not the kind of a business operation that we are used to running.
Okay, thank you. But also, do you have windows or doors opening? Well, they definitely close at 10 o'clock, don't they?
Again, just not to have a robotic answer as far as consistency is concerned, but the same time as the other businesses that we have on the block at 12. And I say robotic just because I'm not trying to dismiss that, but it's just consistent to how we have everything else.
Okay. Judy.
Go ahead, Judy.
No, I have no questions. Well, yes, actually, I'd like to make a statement. I am a member of the public cause. Secondly, I didn't print an agenda, so it would be helpful when somebody comes up if you could state the name of the establishment and its location. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, it's
I see someone raising their hand down there. Can we quick go to them? Jack.
Well, Judy, the place is Be Back Soon, and it's 1488 2nd Avenue.
Thank you.
Sure. Jack, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, I am joining this meeting because I live in the neighborhood. I'm Professor Jack Wiener. I've lived here for 3 decades, and I noticed that there were a couple of restaurants that are right by me, so I thought Uva is close by. I've gone there for years, and they're not the cause of any noise that we hear. They're not generating any music. If somebody has a problem with buskers, I suggest that they take it up with the proper authorities, but I think the buskers are right. It's not the restaurant's purview. And I also think that we should be sensitive to these are COVID times. I heard a criticism about people, or a complaint about people sitting outside. Well, God bless them. It's much safer than sitting inside. The pandemic is a big problem. The restaurants are having a problem, obviously. We have to be sensitive to that. And the people, better than that they eat outside than indoors, even when they're allowed to eat indoors to limited capacity. Those are my views.
Okay, thank you. Russell.
Go ahead, Russell.
Yes. So what we've often done when there are concerns about noise, from music, and particularly live music, is, a stipulation where, typically I think the music doesn't go all the way until closing time, particularly if a place is going to be closing pretty late. And so, we can sort of stipulate an earlier kind of cutoff time for any kind of live indoor music that they may have going on. And very often the applicant doesn't even really intend to have the live music go all the way till closing time. And so I think that's a sort of easy kind of answer when it comes to the indoor live music. So, if the applicant's willing to say that they won't have live music past, sometime like 11 or 12 or something like that, I think maybe that would help kind of address the concerns.
Are you going to have live music, Massimo?
Occasionally. I mean, it's there's only so much that a playlist or an algorithm on Pandora can do. Just like everything we do, we like to put a personal touch on it and take a personal approach. So, I mean, live music is intended to be just as that, as I don't know why I'm using the word robotic so much today, but not robotic. Just being able to play, whether it's anything from jazz or who knows what. I myself, I'm very passionate about flamenco music and acoustic guitar, but not that matters. But if it, the gentleman, I didn't catch the name, but a gentleman said that, what if we agree to closing, I don't know, an hour, no live music, an hour or 2 hours before closing time, I'm totally fine with that, because if someone's playing live music for that long, it's probably going to, they're probably going to want to get paid a lot. But okay, I also there was a kind gentleman who spoke, who's the gentleman who lived in the neighborhood for 3 decades, was, I think, waving his hand. I would appreciate if we could hear from him again. I think he wanted to speak to me.
Well, let's call on other people first before we call back on him. Okay, so how about live music not past 12 and any windows or doors closing at 10 p.m. to the outside? Not your inside. Your inside, you're going to be, but we don't want windows and doors open if you're playing music, and really an open window past 10 o'clock is meaningless anyway.
Yeah, I would be curious as to why that would be a request. When
It would contain the noise to the inside rather than if there's any noise inside, it would carry on outside.
Yes, naturally. But we also have music at other establishments on the street and whose doors or windows are allowed to stay open past 10. So I just wonder why the inconsistency here.
Well, what we've been trying to do is put a stipulation on a time limit but also for outdoor dining, isn't it 12 o'clock Saturday and Sunday, and what time during the week? So you wouldn't have anybody out anyway. Or is there an outdoor area in that place?
There's not.
Okay.
There's not. That you're thinking of the other place.
Okay.
I mean, you're saying, can we do 11 o'clock? How about just like?
Oh, I said 12, but if you want to do 11, I'm fine.
I'm sorry. I meant to say 12.
Okay, 12.
But I'm just 1 second. I want to make sure that we're clear on this. We're talking about the windows here, correct?
Yes. Correct.
That's fine. Oh yeah, that's fine. No problem.
Oh yeah, because it's meaningless, isn't it? Okay. Anything else, Russell? I guess not. Alida?
I thought Russell did have his hand back up actually, but
we'll call him back again later then. Alida?
Go ahead, Alida.
Thanks, Cos. Thanks, Max. I see some other members of the public, but either Oath or the Nightlife Czar has a mediation program to resolve disputes between restaurants and nightlife establishments or bars and the population, the residents in the community. So maybe the committee might want to consider including that as a stipulation that if there are disputes, that the restaurant or the bar will willingly participate in a program so that they can try and resolve things with their neighbors.
Well, I think Lusardi's has been in contact with, I know that area has been a problem for many years, 1 or 2 bars, but I'm not sure if it's quieting down now or not. But would you agree to that, Massimo?
Also, I'd just like to add that Will, our district manager, just put in a link in the chat to the program Alida was just speaking about.
Okay, thanks, Will.
I apologize.
It's a friendly way. Oh,
it's
a friendly.
Okay, Alida, would you like to finish up?
Thank you, Cos. I just wanted to say that it's a very friendly way to resolve things where you work out a time or you work out some kind of parameters of music or windows or something so that it's not just the residents who are being satisfied, it's also your interests that are taken into account and concern so that everyone ends up with something that theoretically everyone ends up with something that's satisfactory. It's a voluntary program, but a willingness to participate sends a strong message that you want to be a good neighbor, and that's usually, I would think, well received by people.
I am all about open communication with the locals, and I'd be more than happy to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Brown? Oh, hold it. Jane Moore from the public.
Okay, I see her. Go ahead, Jane.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So I actually live right above Uva, and I'm kind of speaking from a different angle, actually. I have lived in New York for 14 years, and this year has definitely been one of the most haunting as a single female that lives by themselves. I think we all got to see the city when it was devoid of restaurants and devoid of action on the street. And I myself, I have lived in 2 areas of the city that both kind of went through a bit of a drought in restaurants and retail spaces. The last one, I actually lived above Barney's downtown when that closed, and the area very, very quickly degenerated and became quite a creepy and spooky environment. So I have to admit, living now on 2nd Avenue, which I've always thought had like a really neighborhood feel, kind of throughout the summer, that whole area really started to feel kind of like previous areas that I've lived in, just kind of spooky and haunting. And walking my dog late at night, I felt really uneasy, and I was surprised how quickly that feeling came back. So when the restaurants started reopening and coming to life, it was such a resonant reminder of what a relief that is, just to have those faces that you see every day, just the feeling of like somebody on the street, an existence, and community. And when Pookie shut down, which is my neighboring property, I got this kind of sense of, oh God, it's happening again. So that's kind of why I'm actually here at the meeting, because I was very excited to learn that it was the Uva team. They are such a family business. I mean, I literally live directly above them, and I could not tell you how considerate and respectful they are of me. And just little things from being able to leave keys with them if ever I have family or friends in town. They are such a family. They've always looked out for me, and just like nodding to their manager late at night when I'm on the street, knowing that they're moving in to the new property, I was just like, okay, good, they've got this, because I know what they are, I know what they're made of. And you never know when things are getting pretty barren. You never know. I mean, half of the block seems to be shutting down to build high rises. I have no idea what's going to happen on this block. But for me personally, to know it was a family business moving into that space is a huge relief.
Good. Thank you very much. The Jack Wiener.
Oh, I see. Go ahead, Jack.
Hi, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, it's my second comment, but just for background and as to why I'm making the comment, I happen to be by profession a law professor, and it's a basic tenet of the laws that we treat all equally situated people equally. So when there was no complaint about music from the establishment itself, but only from passing buskers who are not under the control of the establishment, the fact that there would be a suggestion to split rules to the restaurant just strikes me as inappropriate, even if the restaurant may think it's fine. I just think this isn't the way to conduct this business. Thank you.
Are you talking about the traveling music or the closing of the doors at 12?
There was only a criticism when it came to music of the outdoor traveling buskers.
Okay, thank you. I just want to clear, but you know, again, the restaurant, as you know, and everybody knows, the restaurant has no control about them.
Exactly. So my concern is where there's been no suggestion, and in fact, I'm on 74th and 2nd. I walk in this area all the time. There are restaurants and bars that are noisy. Uva is certainly not one of them, though. So to say, oh, we have them before us, let's impose with absolutely no reason a requirement that doesn't apply to other similar establishments strikes me as inappropriate, just as a point of order.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Brown?
Go ahead, Mrs. Brown.
Thank you for acknowledging me. I was feeling as if I was a potted plant because my hand had been raised but overlooked. I am sensitive to anybody wanting to earn a living, and I'm sensitive to Massimo's plight with this specific restaurant, but I am concerned about the resident who expressed her concern about the noise beyond 10 p.m. We need to take that into consideration. They have a 50-50 ratio with food and drink, 11 a.m. to 4 a.m. every day. I just think that's a bit much. I think a stipulation, I can support this application if there's a stipulation that the doors and windows must be closed at 10 p.m. and no music after midnight. And with regard to the last gentleman who had spoke regarding some restaurants are able to extend the hours and so forth, and some aren't. I think we need to look at the future, and as each application comes up, to make the correction. And I know this is a difficult time, and I feel very badly that people are suffering, with the loss of income. But we must be sure to remember the community, the people who have to go to work, the people who are subjected to noises and so forth. That's all I want to say. And it's a fine line, and it's complicated. And thank you.
Thank you. Russell?
Go ahead, Russell.
Thanks. Yeah. So just in response to Professor Wiener and some of the other points that have been made, I would just say that it's very common for the community board to impose some sort of kind of stipulated limitation when it comes to live music on the time that it goes on. It's something that we do very regularly to with applicants who come here. So it's not a question of treating this applicant differently. And when I raise the issue, I think generally, I think live music is great, but I think usually it has additional noise concerns that that pipe music doesn't have, and so that's the reason. And my proposed stipulation was just about live music. So I think live music, cutting off at midnight, which it sounds like
that's
the applicant's okay with, is that I think is pretty reasonable. And anyway, I just wanted to make that distinction between the live music and the pipe music. And I think in terms of the window closing, I guess, I'm not sure what to do about that, because right now, on the one hand, I don't think any restaurants are able to stay open past 10 currently. So it's sort of moot now, but obviously we're looking ahead sort of, past that. And at the same time, I think, when people are indoors and when there is indoor dining, it's safer to have the windows open. Okay. Right. And so we've got these sort of considerations about what we're doing in terms of the temporary kind of COVID related things that we have to deal with, and what, trying to tailor things to that. And also, this is going to be obviously a license that's in place for a while. So, for that reason, for sort of the COVID reasons, I think my preference would be to allow a kind of later time for the windows, but I don't know how other folks on the committee feel. So I think it makes sense to have some sort of cutoff for the windows. To me, it makes sense to have it track the time for the for live music. But if others on the committee want an earlier time, I guess we could vote on that also.
Interesting points. Yeah, Marco.
Go ahead, Marco.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion. The motion is to approve. If somebody seconds, then I would like to speak.
Okay, the motion is to approve, but with what stipulations?
Barry, he second. My point is very simple. First, with the professor, we have a lot of attorneys in the community work, so don't worry about it. Plenty attorneys always. And the situation is, I know very well Uber. Since I moved, I think around 25 years ago to the community, Uber was already right here. There has been many, many years. And I never hear any complaint about the restaurant. And I think this restaurant, it should be maintained in our community because I never hear a complaint. In 14 years in the community board as a member, I never hear any complaint about this restaurant. So I think it shows a good pattern of they behave very well. The only part that I would like to see, if Rosso wants to allow this friendly amendment, is that you have to be in compliance with the code, and that's it. And Rosso, he raises a very good issues. I think at this time you cannot go open more than 10 o'clock or 11. I think it's 10 or 11. So it won't have a problem during the COVID period, but after the COVID period, then we can probably we had to rediscuss all these issues. But at this level, we have to support your business. We would like to support all the business because we need that, and this is part of the economy. And I understand that the restaurant produce $1 trillion to the economy, and so it's a main issue of our economy. So therefore, I will strongly support your application. And I never hear anything about this Uber bar, except that it's quiet. and always operate properly. And thank you.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marco. Mrs. Brown, hold it. Jay Levine from the public. Okay, let's go Mrs. Brown, then we'll go to Jay. Mrs. Brown?
Yes, I want to make sure I'm clear. Marco made a motion to approve this application with the stipulation?
Correct.
Thank you. That's all.
May I just say what I think will be the last thing? I think, is Mrs. Brown the potted plant who was raising her hand? Is that the one, the lady?
Yes.
Yeah. She said something that was very nice, and that she empathized with a restaurateur, which I'm not even going to get into the hardships of 2020 because you guys don't have all night. But then rightfully so, she also empathized with the resident, which is, I believe she's a community board member. So she's doing exactly what I think a community board member should be doing, caring for the business and also for the resident. I just want to repeat, in case it got lost, that I believe when I answered the resident who lives a few buildings down, I believe I explained that the location we're discussing right now is further away from her apartment than my other location that has been in business for 16 years that has not received noise complaints. And I also want to just point out one more time that the address she was referring to is a property I have never had anything to do with and is not for this application. I just want to respectfully explain that in case there was any confusion in
well, thank you for the clarification. And is the resident still who had a concern that's located a couple of blocks away, is she still online? Do we have her name? And
Yeah,
if
I think it was Jay Levine.
I'm sorry?
I think it was the Jay Levine that has her hand up.
Okay. Well, perhaps, Massimo, you could reach out to her. Maybe you can give her your phone number. If it is a problem, she has access to you, and I'm quite sure you two will be able to work it out.
Sure. Do I do that here?
Thank you very much.
No, do it offline.
Okay.
She can come and see you. I mean, she knows where you are.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you very much.
And we have an iPhone, whoever that is.
iPhone in the orange shirt you're under.
Yeah, hi. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've been a friend of mine told me about the Green Kitchen. I've gone to the
that's later on. We're talking about this. This is later on under new business. The Green Kitchen.
I may not be able to be here for that time. I just wanted to make a note that I hope that it can stay in business and keep its liquor license and remain open. Can I put my 2 cents in for that now, and you can have me vote on it later? Because I don't know how long I can stay here.
Okay. We'll mark that down. Okay, call back later on, and it shouldn't be too much longer, I hope.
All right, I'll try to stay on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Russell, you had something else?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify, to the extent that it's my resolution or my stipulation that we're speaking to. I mean, my preference is for midnight for both, for the windows and for the.
Okay, I think that's what.
So that's what I want us to
yeah. But I think the problem that we have now is under the COVID rules, there's different stipulations, different regulations, different everything. So we've got to be careful with anything that we write that it's for 2 years, because they're going to be. Sorry.
Well, all right. So I think basically whatever, as I understand it, I mean, I think whatever regulations or rules the governor is imposing because of COVID, those are going to take precedence over whatever's in anything anyway. So basically the liquor license that we're voting on and the stipulations that we're voting on are sort of what's going to apply in the absence of any of that stuff when, hopefully
Correct.
we get past all that Sunday. And
Yep.
so, you know, notwithstanding obviously the fact that they may have a later time that they're allowed, you know, while 10 is the rule under COVID, they'll be open till 10. While 11 is the rule, they'll be open till 11. I mean, that's sort of separate, I think, from the license. So I you know, I accept Marco's friendly amendment about, you know, like we've been saying, you know, everybody should be following the COVID rules, which they're doing. But I think given that they're, you know, obviously a very good neighbor. I mean, to me, midnight is, I think, fine for both. So.
Well, I think we all know if people don't follow the COVID rules, there are consequences, both from DOT and SLA.
Yeah, I mean, they're clear that they've been following that and they're going to follow that. So I don't have any concerns in that regard. I don't think anybody does. So.
Okay, so the stipulation will be approved with a stipulation of live windows and music closing at terminating at 10 o'clock. And
no, sorry,
12
I thought
o'clock.
it was going to be midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah, 12 o'clock.
You keep saying 10.
Oh, I'm sorry, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, midnight.
I'm reading 12. Yeah, 12 o'clock, and to follow the current COVID rules and regulations. Was that a yes, Massimo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Anybody? Oh, Valerie's. Let's see what Valerie has to say.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm getting here late. What is the motion?
The motion is to approve with the stipulations that live music and outdoor windows will be closed by 12 o'clock and to follow the current COVID rules.
Well, outdoor music where?
There is no outdoor music, live indoor music. This is for indoors. They're applying for indoors. They don't have an outdoor area. So the live music and the windows will be closed at 12 o'clock and they will follow current COVID rules. There is nothing about the outside.
And that's every day of the week?
Yes. Are you yeah. Well,
I mean, I have actually heard that coming out of some other places, and it's extremely loud and really disruptive to the people who live above these places.
Well, we've heard from a woman that young lady that lives upstairs to Uva that if you know the Lusardi locations, they have been there for many 30, 40 years, depending on the location. And they have been, well, from what everybody knows, very good people to have in the neighborhood. And their locations have not been, they're not a bar, they're a restaurant.
And most of all, do not like loud music.
No, I know. That's why I'm okay.
Indoor or outdoor.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody, unless you're voting no or abstaining, if you're voting yes, put your hand.
Okay. I mean, I just worry how we're going to distinguish. I mean,
Yeah, you're breaking up, Valerie. Oh,
I got unmuted. How we're going to differentiate? I mean, I'm fine, and I know Lusardi's is going to be a good neighbor, and if somebody says that it's too loud, I'm sure they're going to do something about it. So I guess I take back my reservation with respect to Lusardi's. I'm thinking about a couple of other places that are along 2nd Avenue right now that are doing the same thing that I don't think have come before us. And so.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Anything else, Massimo or Grant or Dad?
Well, if I could say one more thing, the young lady that she wasn't here before. So we're not about loud music. Not now. We haven't been about loud music for 40 years, and we're not going to be about loud music going forward. My son is just trying, and obviously with my help, to do something for himself, and I think that anyone who's trying to open a new business these days should really be not only applauded but helped, because as you all know, we've been through so much in the restaurant industry, and restaurants are shutting down all over, and someone has actually have the courage to open under these circumstances. Even 1 hour, it's really could be a big help in the long run for the survival of a new restaurant. So,
I appreciate that.
obviously, I get your concern, and I'm all for it. But let me just say one more time: we're not noisy people. We're not about making noise. We're about, I think, serving good food, and that's it. So, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay. Let's. I know Barry's had his hand up, and Jay Levine, they're the ones that spoke before. If they can get together with Massimo, discuss what the concerns are, I'm sure that they will come to some agreement between them. Okay, it is time to vote. If you're abstaining or voting no, raise your hand. Otherwise, it will go down as unanimous approval with the 12 p.m. Russell, 12 p.m. live music and windows closed, and also follow the current COVID stipulations. Okay. Thank you very much, and good luck.
For the video record, the same members are still in attendance for item 1C, in addition to Valerie Mason.
Terrific. Okay.
Plus Valerie Mason.
Oh, plus Valerie, yes.
Just want to clarify that was supposed to be 12 a.m. because you had said p.m. So I just want to make sure.
12 midnight. Let's put it that way.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
I can leave it at 12 p.m. if you would like. Thanks, Massimo.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. What are we up for next? 77 tapas.
Yes, that is correct. And I think I see the owner waving his, I see him. I'm going to keep moving. Owner, you're unmuted.
Okay, 77 tapas, 303 East 77th Street. Representative, and 60-40 drinks. Anything else? Let's hear. Are you going for a full liquor?
Yes, full liquor.
And would you like to tell us what you intend to do and where it is? And
by the way, I'm sorry, I'm the manager, to interrupt. Charles, the owner with the name, I think you unmuted him now. He is with us. He's our representative.
Hello, Charles Lynn. I'm the attorney for 77 Tapas.
Okay, so tell us what you're doing.
First of all, the location is at 1303 East 77th Street. That's the corner of 77th and 2nd Avenue. It previously was the premises for Bella, but they've been out, I believe, for about a year and a half. We're going to operate as a tapas restaurant, more towards a Mediterranean type of menu. The capacity of the premises is about 60 people. Our hours of operation will be from 12 noon to 12 p.m. midnight. As you had said, the percentage is 60% food, 40% liquor. The bar will only have from 5 to 7 bar stools, so it is basically a restaurant. There will be there'll be background music only, no live music. And I think it's important that the owner, Suleiman Saysir, is also the owner of Ala Turk, which is on 74th and 2nd Avenue, and has been the owner of that premises for about 13 years.
This license is for the indoor and outdoor, because wasn't there a sidewalk cafe there?
Yes, there'll be a sidewalk cafe, and it's to my understanding that we have to come before the community board once the outside cafe has to be voted upon at that time.
But the liquor license covers the outside at this
Yes,
stage?
it will be covering the outside, yes.
Good, okay. And when do you intend to open?
That's probably about March or April, depending upon the surge and everything, how things are going. They did have a fire in the premises, so a little bit more construction probably has to be done. But probably I would say between March, April is a pretty good reasonable date.
Who has the street seating now? That's not you. Is that next door?
That's the next door people, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the public. Suleiman, you're part of it. Jay Levine from the public. I'm not bypassing you, Mrs. Brown.
Hi, it's Denise Levine again. So
Yes.
the people who were at Vero before, I guess, Vela before, I'm sorry, I guess many people on the board are aware, played loud music and had late hours, and our bedroom is 2 stories above them and we never slept. So that was why, even though I like Lusardi and I like Uva, I mentioned my concern about late hours and music. So I'm glad to hear that that the Tapas Bar would have no intention of having live music nor be open past midnight. Now, I was wondering if they could put that intention in the stipulation.
Well, their hours of operation stipulates that that's what they're going to submit to the SLA, so they cannot operate past 12. So there's no need for us to put it in the stipulation.
Oh, is that going to be in the SLA? Is that what it is?
Yes, because when they state the hours that they close at 12 at midnight, they have to close at 12 midnight, regardless if they want to stay open or not. That is the hours that they're submitting to the SLA, and that appears on the license that 12 o'clock midnight they do close.
Is that what it's going to say, Mr. Lin?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And the chairman is absolutely correct with regards to the 30-day notice, and the decision of the board becomes part of the application with the liquor authority. So it's absolutely mandatory that it be followed.
Okay, so then I understand it'll close at midnight and you don't intend to play live music.
That is correct.
And I have no objections.
Thank you. And by the way, Denise, if you'd like to go and have a chat to Massimo, you two can get together on the last applicant.
I like his restaurants. It's not that I object to restaurants. I'm just, our bedrooms face 2nd Avenue. So when there is, our block has become so a flea market here. And you can't sleep at night. So my concerns are extraordinary right now because, I mean, like I said, we don't sleep at night with the noise.
Yeah, true. Well, isn't there going to be something on the northwest corner of 78th eventually? That'll be in something else. Okay, let's go to the public. Luna. Can you unmute Luna?
I have. Luna, you're unmuted.
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to say that the owner, I would like to say that the owner of 77 Tapas has another establishment that has been flouting the social distancing, outdoor dining, COVID rules since the COVID rules have begun. I would point out that the other establishment, A La Turca, has 3 to 4 times the number of 311 complaints of other restaurants in the neighborhood and has an unresolved DOB violation regarding construction. Further, notices of today's application for 77 Tapas were only posted to this afternoon, evidenced by the fact that they're pristine given the weather we've had over the last few days. I would ask the board to review the 311 complaints, to walk by the other establishment on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, and to ask for remediation of the violations of the other establishment before making a decision about the liquor license. And you can hear them there. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. But the problem is we're hearing 77 tapas tonight. They may own the other one. What we can do is have the board, have them come before the board specifically on a la Turca. I don't want to mix the two different locations. This is one thing that they've stipulated to 12 o'clock closing, no music, well, the outdoor will come later on. But if we can have a la Turca come at the January meeting, if that's agreeable.
He's shaking his head. Yes.
Well, I'm sorry. If that's what the committee decides, we have no problem with that.
Oh, okay. And you represent a la Turca also?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then you'll be coming before us in January?
That's correct.
Okay. This is for a la Turca, not for 77 tapas. Okay.
Someone else with the name iPhone is raising their actual hand.
Oh, okay. Can you unmute them?
I just have. Go ahead. iPhone. Yep. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Denisio Fontana. I own 254 and 252 East 74th Street, where La Turco is right in front of my building. For the last 13 years as a neighbor, I couldn't say more highly things about this guy, of keeping it clean. I have no complaints of my tenants complaining of anything for 13 years. Now, I couldn't disagree with this guy before what he was saying. I don't know where he came up with that, but I've been a neighbor there of him for 13 years. I've been on that block for 30 years. So I just want to support him. I think he's doing a great job. I think his restaurant is one of the best looking ones that he did. He spends a lot of money. He makes it look good. And I'm just 100% support wherever he goes.
Thank you. Well, if there's a DOB violation that goes to the building, if it's social distancing, that's something else. That's an SLA or a DOT. And 311, we will have the 311 calls for the January meeting. So we will be in a better position to know what is going on with a la Turca. And anyway, if you can come next in January meeting. Okay, finally, Mrs. Brown.
You're unmuted.
Thank you. I wanted to ask if there was going to be takeout service, and if so, are they going to use a third party, or do they have their own delivery men? And
Right now, there's no real thought of having delivery, but I did file with the board the affidavit that if there is, we'll certainly follow all of the guidelines and regulations of the city with regards to that. But right now, there is no idea about serving delivery right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Wiener again.
Thank you very much. I'll try to keep this short. My comments are much the same as my comments were about UVA. As I said, I live on 300 East 74th Street, so I'm close to both of these establishments. I think those are the two of the very good establishments in the neighborhood. I think we have to support them. And I guess I'll show up at the January meeting. I thought those comments of complaint by the other gentleman were quite peculiar, as anybody who's in the neighborhood and goes to the restaurants here knows. a la Turca puts all their cutlery in sealed plastic and gives their patrons not only the cutlery, but a mask to protect them from COVID. Every customer who sits down there to eat, it's bizarre to me that this fellow would say, this is a problem worse than others in the neighborhood. And maybe there are a lot of 311 calls. I wonder how many trace to this fellow. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Well, let's keep comments and feelings about a la Turca for January. Marco.
Thank you. I would like to call the question for approval and then to speak.
Okay.
I just checked the location, the 303 East 77th Street. Do not have violations. That's the application that we are discussing today.
Correct.
And there is no violations, and therefore I think we have to support that application. Thank you.
Well, that's the violations which go to the building, but we don't know about 311 calls.
No, I'm referring to the building zone.
Yes, yes, thank you. Anyway, we'll hear it in January. They volunteered to come back. Barry, you're going to call the question, I assume.
Yes, call the question, please.
Okay, and again, if you're voting no, raise your virtual hand. If you're abstaining, raise your virtual hand. Otherwise, it'll go down as a unanimous approval. Okay. Okay.
Can I just ask two quick questions? First,
yes.
Do I have to send another notice, or I will be advised, and my client be advised of the date of the next meeting, so I don't have to do anything else right now?
I think the board will send you an invite. It's just that we want to find out what is going on with the 311, and if the gentleman has said there's COVID rules and everything else. So we just want to, and it shouldn't take long, hopefully. But that way everybody will be in the know, the public and you, what is actually going on. Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to ask is any possibility of waiving the 30-day notice so that I could get the application into the liquor authority as quickly as possible?
For this one?
Yes.
I've got no objection. The board can, I'm fine with it. Okay. Is that fine, Will? No?
Yeah, we grant one-time waivers for each establishment. I would say usually they are contingent that you attend the next meeting, but since you attended this meeting, we could issue that letter waiving the 30-day notice, and just know that it is a one-time thing. You will never get another one.
Is that one time a month or one time lifetime?
Forever, perpetuity.
Forever and ever.
Thanks, Will.
Now the email to me.
Yes, follow up with Murat, I think, who you were communicating with,
yes,
and he'll get you that letter.
And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's the agenda for tonight. Except
I have to say, for the video record, the same members are still in attendance for item.
Good, thank you. New business, Green Kitchen, 1619 2nd Avenue. Are they here?
Jean.
It's actually Peter Casimis. He's the owner and he will be speaking.
Thank you. Okay, what do you have to tell us?
Well, first of all, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm here this evening to try and gather support from the community. I was hoping I could give a really quick kind of background on our operation, who we are within the community, if that's okay.
Well, what happened? Let's hear that. We know most of the people in the area know the Green Kitchen.
Okay.
Give us a synopsis of what happened.
Okay, I will give you the synopsis. I will try and make it as short and respectful of everyone's time as possible. So my name is Peter Casimis. I'm one of the proprietors of the Green Kitchen. Again, I'm sure a lot of people know that we are a restaurant, or two restaurants, I should say, that have been servicing the Upper East Side since 1931. My family took over ownership of the location on First Avenue 14 years ago. In that time, we've successfully operated. We have never, and I want to emphasize this, never had any issues with the community or received any violations. More recently, about 3 years ago, we decided to expand our concept. And after a roughly 13-month construction process and a 7-figure investment on our end, we expanded and opened a second location on 2nd Avenue. Up until March of this year, we successfully operated in that location, again, free of any complaints, free of any violations. And effectively, we were basically working our way out of the red after a pretty sizable investment on our part. Unfortunately, and I'm sure many people can understand this, March changed our lives very substantially. Not only from an operational standpoint, but also from a family standpoint. My father, who was the main operator of both businesses, very sadly, got COVID and passed away at the end of March. Obviously, this took a tremendous toll on our family. And my brother, my younger brother, basically at the time tried to step in and navigate through the chaos, through the different COVID restrictions and kind of all the craziness that I feel that a lot of the other restaurateurs can acknowledge and empathize with. During this time, we regrettably made several mistakes operationally, and I'm basically here this evening to try and gain support and hopefully try and explain the changes that we are implementing going forward in order to remedy any of the issues. At the end of October, we had an SLA agent come in, and after a lengthy inspection, we received, again, several violations, and about a week later, our liquor license was pulled. And I just, again, want to emphasize the fact that in the month that we've had since then, we've taken every possible measure to rectify the different violations. You know, I have a lot of supporting evidence and documents here. I didn't know that I could possibly share them this evening, but I have several photo records of the remedies that we've already, or what we've already remedied. I have a remediation plan that I was kind of hoping I could detail this evening to outline the changes that we're implementing. You know, in addition to trying to make changes, we've reached out to several members of the community. We've gotten an incredible amount of support from some of our patrons. We have over 275 letters of support from our customers. And we've also gotten letters of support from a few of the charitable or the organizations, I should say, that we typically or regularly support, including the Doe Fund. In summation, you know, I'm here this evening to offer my sympathy and my regret. Our establishments are not by any means bars or nightclubs. We are family-oriented restaurants. And I'm here again to emphasize the fact that the numerous violations that we received, while egregious, and I will 100% admit that, they are not systemic problems. These were poor decisions made in reaction to the most challenging landscape that the food and beverage industry has ever seen. Us specifically, and again, this is something that's in flying in the face of all operators right now, but you know, we're a relatively small operating group. We made a massive investment. You know, we were really behind the 8 ball in a few different ways. And unfortunately, we had this colossal storm that hit us. Again, both from losing my father to this horrible disease, which knocked us down a man in terms of the operational structure. And also obviously us being prohibited in terms of our ability to generate revenue. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. I'm basically trying to come forth tonight and again, express my deepest sympathy and remorse for all the mistakes that we made. And I'm hoping that we will be considered or supported rather, I guess, so that we can apply for reconsideration for our liquor license because it will be nearly impossible for us to continue operating without that. I'm here basically pleading on behalf of my family, our 60+ employees, and most importantly, I should say the community, which we're hoping to continue to serve in the manner that we were doing before this terrible this terrible disease ravaged our city. I just want to thank you for the time to speak. And most importantly, I think for me this evening, in addition to kind of pleading our case, is to be able to hear from the representatives of the community. I'm all ears, and we're trying again to make all possible changes so that if you would consider supporting us and we can actually reinstate this license, we can go forth and operate in a manner that is fully compliant and beneficial to the neighborhood. Thank you.
How many violations did you receive?
I have the summary here of the violations in front of me.
And were they all from SLA or DOT or?
So we had a substantial amount of 311 calls, and we had about 30 plus violations when the SLA officer came in. I will say this much, and again, I'm not trying to make any excuses. The way that this is structured currently, which was surprising to both myself and my brother, was that the SLA agency has effectively been given autonomy over all other agencies right now. So the gentleman that came in representing the SLA did an hour-and-a-half inspection of our store, and he covered what would normally fall under the purview of the SLA, the Department of Building, Homeland Security, the Health Department. So we received a bunch of violations. We've remedied the vast majority of them. And I have a plan in front of me now that I can share to remedy what I believe to be the most pressing issues that have faced the community.
Well, wait a minute. So the SLA only came once?
No, the SLA came a few different times, and then there was one actual inspection. And what they also documented was the fact that the police had come numerous times. Now, we have a good standing relationship with the local precinct, and all I will say on our behalf is that the vast majority of times that the police officers came, which was in the height of kind of May, June, and July, when there were the walk-up bars, which we participated in, and congregation of people, the vast majority of times, the officers came and simply dispersed the crowd. We never were given a warning by the police officers that we had to stop what we were doing or anything of that nature. So we have a pretty lengthy rap sheet, I guess, right now, but I just wanted to emphasize that.
Okay. Let's go, Alida. We'll go to you first.
You don't have to if you want to hear from the public, but thank you. This is me speaking personally and not as the chair. I wouldn't have believed what I had seen on the corner of 84th and 2nd if I hadn't actually seen it myself. And this was in the summer. It's so much worse now with people congregating, with music, if you didn't know that you weren't supposed to have people congregating there, then shame on you, and you weren't paying attention to the news. What you did was put people in the neighborhood in danger for their health. So when my 20-something-year-old kids don't want to walk on the corner and want to cross the street, when members of the board in their 70s don't want to walk anywhere around you and would rather cross the street and even maybe go on a different avenue because of the extent of the crowds, that's really saying quite a lot. If the SLA, if the police came and only dispersed the crowds, that should have been a warning to you that you were doing something wrong. It's not that you were playing music loudly. It's not that you were serving liquor past your closing time. It's not even that you had too many chairs under normal circumstances. Oh, and let me just interrupt myself by saying, please accept my condolences on the loss of your father. I could only imagine, and probably not enough, how horrible and tragic and full of isolation and everything else that must have been. So I know that was a terrible time. And we all know, because we've heard how much restaurants and bars are suffering now. But other establishments are able to comply with the laws without a number of violations, without the excuses that you've come here given. A restaurateur, someplace opening a restaurant in the neighborhood, has complained about what you are doing, because what you do when you have those crowds and you have those people is one bad apple spoils the barrel. And that's all I'm going to say, is that it's unfortunate what's been going on in the neighborhood, But by having people congregate, by flouting the laws to this extent, it feels that you have really endangered people's health, and people shouldn't have to cross the street in order to avoid the establishment. And you should know, and I'm sure that there were ample opportunity to know what the rules were all along, and they've changed, and you just didn't change with them, even as they became less restrictive. So, and again, that's me personally, but I was really upset months ago when I saw, and it just hasn't really calmed down as far as I could tell. So thank you very much, Cause.
Okay, thanks, Alida. Let's go to whoever the iPhone is.
I'm unmuted now. Hi,
Yeah.
my name is Mark Helfgott. I live at 524 East 79th Street, Manhattan, down basically in the neighborhood. I've been going to the Green Kitchen for 40 years on 77th Street and First, and then when they opened up the place on 2nd Avenue, I went there too, and I've enjoyed it, and I just really appreciate the service that I've had there and everything that has been going that I've seen there. And I haven't been there late at night, so I don't know what's going on in the street. But whenever I've been there, it's been fairly, calm situation. And I don't see, and the owner seems very honest and willing to work with the city to alleviate the problems that they do have. So I think that they should get their liquor license back, and they should be able to stay open. I think it's a helpful place for the neighborhood. I think it's a good restaurant, and I'm in favor of them getting back their liquor license and not closing. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Mark, let's go to Jack Wiener again.
Thank you, sir. Just a couple of comments, or 3 comments perhaps. First of all, my condolences. Very sad about your father. Number 2, I'd like to hear more about something that has been skirted, which is the nature of the violations. I'm far less concerned about a violation for staying open 5 minutes later than allowed than I am for a COVID-related violation. And I have a family member right now who's sick with COVID, and I'm very emotional about that. And I think this is what we really have to focus on. And if they're COVID-related violations, well, I'm extremely upset by them. And I think those should be weighed heavily. And then my final point is, I live in the neighborhood, as I've mentioned, and I used to go to Green Kitchen a lot. I used to go probably 4 days a week. And I happened to have a service dog, and I repeatedly received comments from staff there that I couldn't bring the dog in, and I insisted I could. I'm a law professor. I showed them the law. I would still get the comments. I spoke to, I believe, the younger brother of this gentleman once. The problems persisted. I didn't make a 311 call, and I didn't contact this group. I simply stopped going there. But for him to say that there haven't been problems with the community, at least speaking from this one member of the community's perspective, I've had deep problems that were not addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Caifano.
Go ahead, you have to unmute.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm a constituent. I'm a resident from 555 East 78th. I used to live at 325 East 78th. And I've been going to the original Green Kitchen on 77th for 10 years or so. And last year I started going to the 84th Street location because I go to a couple of places up over there. And it always had pleasant experiences. And obviously then COVID hit. And I noticed the 77th Street location, I had to shut down entirely because they had no space for outdoor. So 84th was the only spot. And I was there in June, and I was there to have a meal with my girlfriend, and it was lovely. And I noticed there was a crowd, and it was a lot of young people coming out, you know, the summer, and we had just come out of lockdown. And yeah, I don't really know, other than just closing their door for a while, I don't know what it was that they could have done about that crowd. I mean, the cops came, people just moved a couple of stores down, and it was a lot of the to-go people hovering around and all. So I just came here to support the Green Kitchen because I just thought it was a nice little escape. And there were summertime problems, but living on 78th Street, we had the same problems on 77th and 78th. And I think it was a unique COVID kind of dilemma that went on. And I just wanted to give some support to the Green Kitchen.
Thank you. Russell?
Thanks. So I just have questions about kind of procedurally what is going on, because it's not entirely clear to me kind of what we're at. So from what I can understand, their license has been pulled, and I guess they are applying to have it reinstated. And so we are, voting on whether to recommend approval of that or not. Is that basically right? It's like an application for reinstatement. Is that the procedure that we're dealing with?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the applicant, but I think they want support from us, supporting them to have their license reinstated.
But I just, in what?
Yeah, I have
in what context?
One question to the applicant. How long is this for? Is it indefinite?
The suspension?
Yes.
It's essentially pending right now. I mean, we're trying to get our license reinstated. We don't know exactly how long we're going to be suspended, but we're hoping again that we can remedy all of the issues and get it reinstated sooner rather than later, because unfortunately, and I think a lot of people with industry experience would agree, it's very, very difficult in today's food and beverage landscape to stay afloat and in business without an alcohol component, just based on the margins.
But hasn't the SLA remediation process, you get a what, 1,000 or 10,000? The fines are what, anywhere up to 50,000?
Substantially more than that. Yeah, substantially more than that. So basically, we attempted to remedy the issue by documenting the fact that we had made changes and implemented put in place different protocol, and basically suggested a fine amount that was rejected by the SLA. So now we're applying for reconsideration. And again, the main reason why we're coming before you this evening, at least I can say this from my end, is to explain our story, try and express our sympathy and our remorse, hear any suggestions that the community may have in order for us to resolve the issues that have caused this this unfortunate situation, and then hopefully outline the changes that we're putting in place, so that everyone can kind of understand what we're doing on our end.
Okay. So you're still in the process of negotiating with SLA. So you've had one meeting with them already.
Yes.
So I just want to raise, this is sort of goes back to kind of my procedural point, but also a larger point. So I from what I understand, this is a kind of a late addition to the agenda for this evening. And I think, there are some folks from the public here, but actually my impression is that if we gave notice of the fact, like, sort of ordinary notice of the kind we usually do, of the fact that we're going to talk about Green Kitchen, my guess is that we would have a lot of people coming out to talk about this. And so it seems to me that maybe we should just, put this off to the next meeting. And that way, we'll be able to hear, especially since the point of this, it sounds like, is to hear from the public, we'll be able to hear more from the public. And, it would be nice to see something in writing ahead of time about sort of what the proposal is that we're sort of meant to be assessing and all that kind of stuff. So that I think that would be better.
Okay, well taken. Marco. Yeah, I mean, to everybody, if we're going to, as Russell says, we should be following procedure. This was a last minute addition under new business. But if we're going to be voting on it, then I think the public has a right for what we do. And in this case, as Russell has stated, we haven't notified the public. So this would just be the public that's now tonight at the meeting and the board. So theoretically, the public has been left out of the discussion. I would agree with Russell that we take this in January, publicise it, and then we have the meeting in January, first Tuesday in January, and then the public and anybody else that will come. Even if we say, if we approve tonight, the SLA isn't going to do anything for months. The way they're going, and they have their process, and I think this is something beyond us. Anyway, let's hear Marco.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Russell.
First, please receive my deepest condolence of your father. I'm really sorry to hear that. But my point is very simple. Russell, he established a good point, which basically is the regulations for a public open meetings. So we have to notify the public, whatever it is. But what I think is most important for me to make any decision is I would like to see what is your problem specifically, what you did, and how you're trying to mitigate. Because if you don't mitigate properly, or we don't find that there's enough the mitigation, why we have to support your application? So we need that you spell out every single details, all the errors that you did, and present to us how you plan to correct. So then we can say, yes, he has remorse, he's sincere, and he's gonna do the right thing. But if you are coming just only to spread, just on general ideas, because we don't know the magnitude of this problem, we would like to know that. The public would like to know. And then we can, if you see it that in your mitigation plan, correct all of them properly, then we can support. Otherwise, it will be very hard for me to support at this time. Thank you.
Thanks, Marco.
Is it possible for me to jump in at all during this process? Because I know that the other operators were giving me opportunity.
Yeah, okay, but yes.
So just if I may, just a couple items here. First of all,
wait a minute. Before you go, what Marco is stating is that he would like to see the whole plan, and to go over it tonight, I don't think it's fair to you, to the public, and to the board members.
I can totally understand that, and I grasp that concept. One of the issues, and part of the reason that we're trying to basically resolve this issue, our status, I should say, as quickly as possible. And by no means are we trying to belittle the charges that we're facing or the situation that we're in. But unfortunately, we are essentially operating at a loss because of this restriction currently. And it is literally every single day we are, again, hurting financially. And again, this comes on the heels of everything that I was mentioning before in terms of the fact that we were already operating the red. And I think, again, anyone with a good sense of where the hospitality industry is at this moment can sympathize. We're trying to push forward as quickly as possible and do everything in our power to remedy this problem, because of the fact that the longer we go, the greater the likelihood that we will not only have to close the one location on 2nd Avenue, but also in fact close the 1st Avenue location, because I believe, as Tony mentioned earlier, we've essentially been subsidizing that location through the 2nd Avenue location. We have no outdoor seating there. We've been at a 25% occupancy since we've been allowed to do that. But you can ask any restaurateur, 25% in many cases is not even worth opening the doors because it doesn't pencil out. I was hoping just to address a couple of the things that were brought up, if possible. I think
as has been stated, it wouldn't be fair to the public if we agreed to something that they're going to disagree on. So for the public meeting and for us to make a decision, and, you know, we are only advisory. So the SLA is not going to take any notice of us anyway, especially in these days. I think everybody sympathizes with you. I think everybody knows what's going on and everything. But at this stage, I don't want to skirt around any open meeting rules and favor one side and against the other. Valerie, let's hear from you.
Hi, Peter. I just want to say how sad I was to hear about your father's passing. I've been a longtime patron of the East 77th Street location, and he was a great guy, and I really enjoyed talking to him when I went in there. I have to tell you, though, that I agree with everything that the other board members are saying in terms of we can't vote on this tonight, but I want to go a little bit further than that. If you were asking me to vote tonight, I would have to vote no, because you're not really telling us. I think if we're going to put this on over, I think, till the next meeting, I would tell you to come a lot more prepared than you are this evening. You're not telling us how much the fine was, you know, being specific violations were going on. And there was, you know, the quote unquote New Orleans atmosphere on Avenue. And on television, you were saying you were trying to be as compliant as possible. If you're really going to ask for our support, to come forward, as Marlo and others were saying, with a plan that tells you how you're going to stop the situation. From what was going on there was really out of hand. A lot of people were telling me that, and I couldn't believe they were talking about the Green Kitchen. And in terms of the other location, I know that you don't want to open, I mean, you have those windows there, and you could put something along the street there on the side, like a lot of other restaurants do. But I don't want to get into that. I just think that if you're going to come to the meeting the next time, you need to come a lot more prepared to tell us what your remediation is. You need to be a lot more straightforward on all the violations and what the SLA is actually asking for now in terms of the penalty. Thank you.
Thanks, Valerie. Barry?
Move the table to the January meeting.
I guess there's no discussion on that. Anyway, so I think this will be put on the agenda for January. Any documentation that you have, if you can forward to the board office, and we'll put it on the agenda for January. Anybody else have any old business, new business? Do you have anything, Alida? Yeah, I see your hand up. Yep, went down. Anybody have anything else?
Cause I just wanted to say for the future that Will Brightbill has been the recipient of a lot of complaints about the Green Kitchen on 84th Street. So please be sure to be able to call on him, because again, a lot of people in the neighborhood have complained. I meant to say that earlier, so thank you.
Yeah. You know, I just got stuck with this tonight. Abraham was running late, and I found out that, so I had no idea. And then I see the Green Kitchen on the agenda, so I was as surprised as a lot of other people. Okay, Marco, we adjourning?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you all in January. Thanks, Will.
Thank Max. Don't forget to thank Max. He was your host today.
Thanks, Max, the co-host.
Of course, but thank Will too. He helps me out a lot.
Thank you. And